Without air, there is no life. But the actual air that we're breathing is often completely ignored. It's profound, the impact that it has on your sleep, on your recovery, on your cognitive function. When you are in a polluted state, that gives you a baseline amount of anxiety and stress that never goes away.
With a past as an air quality consultant, Mike Feldstein founded the innovative Jaspr air scrubber.
University of Oxford's Department of Psychiatry, which analyzed indoor and outdoor pollution from birth, pregnancy, adolescence to adulthood. They found evidence that exposure to air pollutants lead to depression, anxiety, psychosis, and perhaps even neurocognitive disorders, such as dementia.
Anything that you believe to be true about the importance of food and nutrition on your health, on your sleep, on your inflammation, is likely also true for air. If you Google any health factor in the world and then add the word air or air quality, you will find an infinite list of really dialed in studies, whether it's fertility, dementia, Alzheimer's, healing, sleep quality. If you just think about a fish in clean filtered water versus a fish in dirty water, which fish is gonna do better? We live in air, not water. We actually found a pretty reasonable solution.
We are so affected by the air we breathe when it comes to our quality of mind. What do you make of us being emotionally reactive from the air quality that we breathe? In other words, what is the biology of the air quality and how does it affect our quality of mind and quality of mood?
So when you say that, what comes up for me is thinking about the earth itself. Let's say 4.5 billion years old or so, whatever it is. It's a long time. But air only came into the picture about 200 million years ago. So realizing how the first thing we do when we're born, your baby's first breath is more important than your baby's first steps. The first thing you do when you're born is take a breath. The last thing you do before you die is take a breath of air. So we talk more about the food that we eat than how we eat it. We talk more about the water quality than how we drink it. Yet breath work and breathing is talked about and relatively understood, but the actual air that we're breathing is often completely ignored. So in terms of how it affects your mood is in terms of, think about how present you would be. When you bless a meal, something magical happens at that table. When you're able to bless your food and the people you're with and the sun and the water and how everything got there. Well, you can bless your water too. And the cool thing about that is you take a lot more sips in a day than you do eat water. Same thing, when you bless your water, it has a much different impact on your body. Blessing your air just means being intentional and present all the time. So if you're grateful for every breath you take, that is working on the inner breath. That is keeping you at a calm, clear state all the time. And air and breath is the ultimate reminder of how fragile life is. And air is fragile. It hasn't been here forever, and it won't be here forever. We also have about 10 kilometers between the ground level and air being so thin that we can't breathe it. And that's about how deep the oceans go. So we have thousands of miles of this hot rock with a very thin layer of water and a thin layer of air between an infinite amount of space. And we are in this little space. So I believe that we literally came from air, because without air, there is no life. So to be present to the air you're breathing is to be present to life itself.
So good. I did not know that fact. This is why I love how deep you know the air and how deep the air goes, but we're in this tiny little veil of it.
Not much.
You know what fascinates me is how much people don't know that they don't know. Y'all dropped off some Jaspers today, which is amazing. So it's on the screen right now, them actually putting the Jaspers in our house. And there's so many things I did not know, Mike, that I did not know about air before I met you. Case in point, this AirNet meter. You opened my eyes to the air quality. Right now we're at 2000. So actually, we can talk about that later. The air quality that we're breathing, specifically for our children, these are the ones that need the best, highest quality of air the most. And it's on the screen right now. University of Oxford's Department of Psychiatry, they had this BioAirNet study, which analyzed indoor and outdoor pollution from birth, pregnancy, adolescence to adulthood. This is so wild. They found evidence that exposure to air pollutants lead to depression, anxiety, psychosis, and perhaps even neurocognitive disorders, such as dementia. There were also indicators that children might be exposed to air pollution at the most critical stages in their mental development, which then sets them up for a life that's more challenging. See, these are the things that we just don't know. We don't know, man. But you know them. Can you educate us on this? Have you heard of this study before?
Not this specific one, but anything that you believe to be true about the importance of food and nutrition on your health, on your sleep, on your being, on your inflammation is likely also true for air. So if you Google any health factor in the world and then add the word air or air quality, you will find an infinite list of really dialed in studies about whether it's fertility, dementia, Alzheimer's, recovery, healing, sleep quality. If you just think about a fish in clean filtered water versus a fish in dirty water, which fish is going to do better? We live in air, not water. So it's profound because we think about air as separate from us, but air is the very fuel that it fuels your next breath. So yes, I am aware of it. And when you are in a polluted state, that gives you a baseline amount of anxiety and stress that never goes away. That's why when often you go to the mountains or you go camping, you feel so good. Finally, you're getting a breath of fresh, clean air. Because, and it's not just like, I'll go to absenteeism, but we're doing the thing, we could talk about it, but we just bought a school called Kindling Academy that will launch next August. And the reason why is there was a study done in Finland. They put air purifiers in 50% of the classes across a number of schools, and the absentee rate in students and teachers dropped by 30%. So way less runny nose, less sick kids, healthier kids, learning better. So it's profound the impact that it has on your sleep, on your recovery, on your cognitive function. Like, you need to put clean fuel. You need to put a certain grade of fuel in your car. You need to put a certain fuel in your body. Your car runs on air. People think, it needs fuel too, but without air flowing through it, your engine couldn't even start.
Totally. Now you're speaking my language. I used to be an automotive mechanic. That was my first profession out of school.
And tie everything you know about air to engines and then tie it to yourself. And you'll know more than you think.
My teacher at that time, he was like, it's a formula you can remember. Suck, squeeze, bang, and blow. That's how a car works. We pull air through our lungs. If that air has secondhand smoke, if that air has mold, that, by the way, mold you cannot see all the time. And actually most mold you can't see. You used to do remediation on a large scale.
Yes.
And you've been involved with the firefighters and with making homes healthy again. In Texas, there is a mold
making
epidemic.
Homes healthy again? I haven't heard that one yet.
Hey, that's your new movement. Making homes healthy again. You should run for air president. But when you make homes healthy again, the thing that we can't really test for effectively, there's many different tests out there, maybe you can point us in that direction too, is mold. Mold is something that, you might look under the sink and see it, but when you're breathing it on a continuous basis, how does that work for us in being in a home in Texas where the humidity is pretty high? And there has been a lot of data and research about, and it's not just Texas, it's anything that has the climate of Texas. Where can we go with the equation of making a home healthy if it has mold? And how do we know?
That's good, man. So my background was wildfire restoration, floods, hurricanes, huge mold events. So don't think about like your less kitchen bathroom mold, more building with 5 floors of mold, hotels with mold, like big disasters.
5 floors of mold?
Yes.
Dang.
Well, when you have a city that's flooded and the water goes to the 6th story of the building, it's all moldy and muddy. So that's where I kind of got my training, and that's where I got my air awareness, seeing how people were so sick after natural disasters. And in those settings, we would use something called an air scrubber, big, loud industrial air cleaning machines, super effective, but really loud and really ugly. And that's actually how I even got into Jaspr in the first place, was by realizing that first I was just testing the homes after disasters. Then I get home and I start testing regular homes, realizing that normal is not okay. It reminds me of like the obesity rate and like the acceptable health metrics just keep shifting over time, where the normal is becoming the average, not the healthy standard.
Yeah.
So instead of raising the bar, we lower the bar so we can all kind of be roughly above it.
It's good for our ego.
It's great.
Collectively.
So it is, at least in the short term, not in the long term. So with your home, a lot of this started in the 1970s during the energy crisis. Prices were going nuts at the pumps. They thought oil was running out. And how do we tackle this energy crisis? Well, let's make homes more efficient. How do we make homes more efficient? Let's tighten them up. We want to keep the warm air in the winter, keep the cool air in the summer. So homes went from buildings that could breathe to being Imagine there being an airtight bag over your home, or your home being a Tupperware box. That's basically what it is. That's why the carbon dioxide in here is over 2,000, because this building is not breathing. It's been designed so tight. So at the benefit of environmental efficiency and saving $1 a day in this space on heating and cooling, we are choking on excessive carbon dioxide. So that was the original intention. So it was, so many of these things now, whether it's pharma or big food or big big ag, there's like the big bad faceless company whose profits are killing the world.
Yeah.
This really is more of the road, and everybody loves a villain, but I'm here to say there's no villain here. The road to hell was paved with good intentions. Energy efficiency was a good goal. Just nobody thought about the downstream consequences of making homes too tight. We've never done that before. Go back a few hundred years ago, it was a roof over your head. Keep the rain out, get some shade, then some walls to keep the predators out, keep your food there. And now it's become these airtight Tupperware boxes that we spend 95% of our time in.
What I'm visualizing when you're speaking is if house had lungs, those lungs are being compressed. It's almost like the house can't take a big inhale, therefore it can't exhale. So then how do we design a house? And this is a great time to talk about the technology of Jaspr. A lot of people try to get these like LED things and lasers and their HVAC, and there's just so much ambiguity and honestly, bullshit. When it comes to quality air in your house. Jaspr is amazing. It's on the screen right now. We have 4 of them in our house now, 4 of them. And I will attest this. I have the AirNet meter.
Yeah, that's
and
important.
Mike and I did some amazing content that we're going to link for y'all. And we watched this meter change like in real time within 1, 5, 10 minutes. And the stove that was making the air quality poor was like 20 feet away. So this is not pseudoscience. This is real science and real technology that you've created. Can you share with people like how we use Jaspr to make a house breathe again properly?
So those are 2 different things. Let's focus on the house breathing, because Jaspr will not necessarily solve the breathing problem.
So it's going to clean the air, but it's not going to help it breathe.
Let's think about it this way. A flowing river, generally has quite clean water because the water is moving. So when you think about a stream that's flowing, that's typically a lot cleaner water. It's clear. When you think about what happens when that water becomes a stagnant pond, now we have mosquitoes, we have algae, it turns green.
Yeah.
If you take a swimming pool and you turn off the pump that's cycling the water, your pool is going to be a green cesspool with frogs in it within days, especially here in Texas. So what happened? Well, the energy stopped moving. So outside, there are air currents. We live in rivers of air. Air is always moving. It has never stopped moving. Our homes are like ponds. So now they're dead and they have no airflow. So of course things start growing and festering. It's no different than what a river is to a pond. That's the outside air to our homes. So that's just a good way of kind of visualizing that your home is a stagnant body of air and the energy is not flowing. I'll find that if I'm feeling a little anxious or the mood's wrong or there's a little bit of an offness in the energy, whether it's at work, at home, I open up some doors and windows. And you cleared it within seconds because you've now put your home back into the ecological system of the river of air. Instead of being separate from it, you've let it back in. And then all of a sudden, everything shifts. The mood shifts. You change. That's to go outside and get a breath of fresh air. It's leave the pond and go back to the river. So yes, your HVAC system is like the lungs of your home. The problem is builders, architects, HVAC industry guys. When I say HVAC, what I mean, it stands for heating, venting, ventilation, and air conditioning. What that means is these are the guys who come and do furnaces and air conditioners. They install the lungs of your home. They service furnaces and all that good stuff. And the issue is the same way that doctors aren't educated on nutrition, the HVAC guys, AKA the air guys, aren't educated on air quality. That's not part of the training. They're thinking about heating and cooling. In a commercial setting, a little bit more fresh air intake, a little bit about humidity, but they're missing the rest of it. And they're in people's homes. Hundreds of thousands of HVAC contractors are in America every day in people's homes. And they actually carry a gas meter on their hip that's looking for a gas leak, a carbon monoxide leak that would kill your family tonight. They don't want to be responsible for that. And if they can find it, great. What they're not looking for is all the things that will kill you slowly. They're not looking for the carbon monoxide. They're not going into your baby's bedroom and seeing if there's a dirty diaper with shit floating in the air. They're not going in your bedroom to see if your bedroom, sometimes in certain rooms are hotter and colder than others. That's because you're not getting airflow there. While they're there, it would make a lot of sense if they had the lens and the education. They want to sell products. Great products exist. They just need their own air awareness, air awakening to realize, wow, when I'm in someone's home, let's go check out the whole system. So the problem is, with the exception of a few very rare healthy home builders, when a subdivision gets planned or an apartment or a condo goes up and homes are built, they're thinking fast, cheap, how many square feet? These are when you think about the weather, when people talk about weather, they're typically thinking, what's the temperature, sun or cloud, will it rain or not? That's it. They're not thinking about the air quality that day, the pressure. There's many other variables of air that will affect your experience with it. But we've limited ourselves to these couple metrics. We love thermal comfort. We love being warm and cozy. And the HVAC guys don't generally have that awareness. So when your home is being built, they're thinking about square footage, curb appeal, a nice yard, LED lights. They're thinking about all the things that banks and consumers value. There's no part of the process where they're saying, hey, we are literally building a home, which is going to be maybe 5 families. This home could last 100 years. It could be the thing that stewards families for 100 years. How do we make it the most healthy, amazing place that has good air, good water, good lighting, good airflow? It doesn't even cost more money to do this. The only cost is thoughtfulness. But if there's no awareness, you can't have thoughtfulness. When you go and buy a home, you hire a home inspector. They're looking for roof stuff, foundation issues, cracks. Things are going to cost your wallet in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. They're not looking for, is this a safe, healthy home for my family? So if banks and consumers are not valuing a healthy home that breathes well, then neither will the builders. So we sort of need a top-down and a bottom-up approach. We need homeowners, consumers, and the steward of the family to say, yo, I'm not buying a home that's going to make my kids sick, that's filled with toxins and chemicals and VOCs and paints and moldy materials. Hell no, that's a non-negotiable. I'd rather live in the woods. I'm going to find a home that breathes properly, that has good water, that has good lighting. And I'm going to find a school that's also conducive to my kid's environment too. Like dial in your environment and then grow from there. So the products exist. There's something, for example, called an ERV, an energy recovery ventilation system.
Oh, this is what we get to put in here.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you do. And actually, this size you can get a single room one, and they're pretty quiet too. But basically, what it does is it has a fresh air intake that can bring in fresh air. It has a stale air exhaust, so it can dump the stale air. Then it has a ceramic core. So what it does is it basically allows your home to breathe without being inefficient for energy. So the core of your indoor air heats up or cools down the outdoor air when it comes in. So you really want a harmonized system that has Jaspers for clean air and then an ERV that lets your home breathe. They work in tandem.
Do most homes have ERVs or no?
In some states and in some provinces in Canada, it has become code for new buildings.
Got it.
It is not that common yet. And here in Texas, for example, homes are built horribly. So in Canada, there's a return in every single bedroom. That's here they have central returns. So there's not much of circulation of the air. It was funny. I had a conversation with ChatGPT the other day. I go, yo, why are they doing it this way in Canada and this way in Texas? Is it and it's talking about heat climates versus cold climates, and it's kind of beating around the bush. I said, stop being a bitch to ChatGPT and tell me how you really feel. And it said, all right.
Sometimes you have to go that way.
It said straight up, no bullshit. The way Texas is doing it is complete bullshit. It's cheap. They're cutting corners.
Yeah.
It's crap. It's not okay. There's no any other reason than incompetence and being cheap. So I'm like, thank you, ChatGPT. This is what I want from you.
Yeah. You have to train it.
Don't be a fucking yes man.
Yeah. You have to train GPT.
Tell me how you really feel. And it's like, all right, thank you for the permission. This is what's up. And it just shat on the way that they build homes here. Think about this. It's hot outside in Texas. It could be 100 for a few months of the year.
Yeah.
So that means your air conditioner has the air flowing through the attic. There's no basements here. So you have cold air running through ductwork in the attic. Usually it's not a thermally conditioned attic. So you have a hot attic with cold air flowing through the vents. What does that do? Condensation. That's going to give you a huge mold problem. And often there's air still being intaked. Often they can be leaky or there can be inlets in there, the mold can grow down, the attic's not breathing properly. So all you had to do was insulate the attic and make sure the attic's breathing properly.
Yeah.
So in the scheme of building a home, where homes nowadays, you can barely get them for $1 million, doing these thoughtful little things to make sure your home breathes properly and heats properly and has good air and good energy flows and good lighting, it's a couple grand.
It's funny because I know we've heard of energy efficient homes. That's like a big label that they put on the plans for a home. But what about, is there a nomenclature or a governing body or like a certificate of stamp where you could describe a home like you're talking about? Is there a governing
so glad
agency?
you asked. So I just joined the Building Biology Institute last week. I'm a board member, man. I feel so legit. You know, I never graduated college. I call myself a street engineer.
Me neither.
So I'm like board member of the Building Biology Institute. It's like, wow, after all these years, you know, I mean,
I'm glad you didn't graduate college. It's why you're sitting in front of me.
I got a couple degrees in mold remediation, but it's funny. People don't realize this.
They're not recognized by Stanford.
A certified mold remediation expert. I'm certified in floods and fire and mold. They're 2-day courses. And lunch was a large part of that. And the food that they were serving us, there was not much paying attention after lunch. And here I am, the certified mold man, restoration professional at your service. Yeah, you don't learn anything in the course. You learn it by doing and by working with mentors.
It sounds like the 2 days that doctors get for food. It sounds like the same thing.
It's like that.
All right, well, let's go back to the certification. This is so important.
Building Biology Institute. So I'm so excited to work with them because it started in Germany almost 100 years ago. It's international. I'm a part of the US division branch. And they teach building biology, which I think is the perfect way of describing it. So the water, the air, the lighting, the energy, the VOCs, and they're big on EMF as well.
Can you tell people exactly what VOCs are real quick?
Yeah, VOCs are volatile organic compounds. The simple way to understand it is these are the chemicals that are being off-gassed in your home.
Okay, rugs, couches, paint, all that stuff.
I mean, there's another category of VOCs, like for example, trees emit VOCs to communicate with each other. That's not the VOCs we're talking about here. I'm talking about the harmful stuff that is chemical in nature and in your home.
Yeah.
And it's usually very gaseous. So Jaspr, for example, it has 3 layers of filtration. One of them is the HEPA filter that's designed to take care of mold, bacteria, pollen, viruses, skin cells, pollution, anything you could see under a microscope, it will filter. The carbon filter is what is actually dealing with gases and odors because it works by absorption. You can't stop a gas with a filter. You have to absorb it. Something we're working on now, we're always upgrading our filter. But the cool thing is it doesn't matter if you bought your Jaspr 5 years ago or 5 months from now. The real innovations are always in the filter. So whenever people get their next filter, they're always surprised and delighted by upgrades on the filter itself. So we're working very hard to actually move to a coconut-based carbon instead of wood.
Why coconut?
Well, it costs more, which is acceptable for us. A lot of people shy away from using premium stuff in their filters, but its absorption rate's better. It won't off gas. It can absorb more. It won't have any initial like smells or anything like that. It's a way more renewable product. Instead of cutting trees down, coconut is a very renewable resource. And like we'd love to vertically integrate and get into coconut farms. And
Talk to
stuff
somebody
like
at Whole Foods. I mean, imagine how many coconut waters are being sold and those husks are just thrown away.
Well, it's actually the meat of the coconut.
Oh, okay. So the outside part is not usable.
But we might be able to use it for something else.
Got it.
So we're working on that too. And then instead of the plastic end caps, we're looking at using bamboo. So that way we could have almost a 100% biodegradable filter. So you take off the end caps, throw it in the landfill. And it's funny, like people think that recycling is always better, but often landfills need absorbent materials. So a filter is actually a landfill's best friend. It's only not good if it can't compress. But if we allow it to open up and compress, it's a landfill's dream. It's literally filtering all those other things so they're not being aerosolized.
Wow. Okay. Can we go back to the certification,
Yes,
the
sir.
building biology?
Yeah,
That's
man.
so good.
So this, by the way, is not a 2-day course. This is a lot more involved.
And this started in Germany, not the USA.
No, it's here now.
It's here now.
So it's very inspired by those European. It's the same way like, Europe has way better food standards.
Totally.
So it has way better air standards too. So it being rooted in that place, coming over to the US, there's a few hundred members, but they've been really focusing a lot on the testing folk. The environmental testing, guy or gal will come to your house, test your air, test for mold. That's fine, but that's not how we really move the needle.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I talked to building biologists all the time. within 2 minutes of being in someone's house exactly what they need. All the testing is not required. Your body knows. So I don't need to go into a home. Once I tested my first 100 or so homes for mold, I can feel mold from a mile away. To waste their time and money, so now they're in thousands on all this testing that I could feel right away. All roads lead to the same place. If you get your home tested, they're going to tell you the same thing. Your ventilation is bad. You need an ERV. You need air filtration or air scrubbing in each room. You need water filtration. Your water is not good. It never is. Whether you have a well or city water, it's not good. Mm-hmm. Now, then it's budget stuff. Do you want to just dial in your drinking water? Do you want shower filters? Do you want whole home? Do you want to get spring water delivered? But water bad, need better water. Air bad, need better ventilation and filtration. Wi-Fi likely not great, depending on how you feel about EMF. You might want to move the Wi-Fi router, put it on a timer. Kill switches in the bedroom if you're really EMF intense, and swap out your light bulbs. So it's like, are we really doing people a service by charging thousands of dollars when basically 100% of the time we're prescribing the same thing? Mm-hmm. Not really. And that's why I used to do air testing and consulting. It felt horrible. I'd give people a few $1,000 report and the budget went to the lab testing instead of to the solutions. So what I'm excited about with the Building Biology Institute is getting more. They also work with architects, builders, and HVAC contractors. So there's a couple ways that this can play out. Number one, when real estate prices crashed post-COVID across the country, across 30% or so everywhere, especially in the markets that really surged like Austin, you know who did fine and the prices didn't budge? Healthy home builders. The demand so vastly exceeds the supply of people who are, like, if someone's building a new home now and can afford it, once you see the potential of a healthy home, you would never consider any other home. And these people, they got it dialed in. Your air, your water, your lighting, your geothermal heating, good materials, better lighting, hardwiring. Of course you want to build that way. That is so the future. And anyone who's a healthy home builder, they could build for whoever they want. And it's infinite demand. Because baby boomers with a lot of money and not a lot of time are quite infinite from the perspective of a builder. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Same thing. If you can have an HVAC contractor who talks about how they're trained in air health and they're looking at your baby's room and your sleep and they're a holistic, the holistic dentists have like a 1-year waiting list. They go beyond the mouth. So holistic HVAC contractors, holistic architects, holistic builders. So I'm so excited because Jaspr wasn't the right vehicle for me to support these types of organizations. But coming at it, this is a nonprofit, being able to train them, teach them, educate them, certify spaces, all this kind of stuff. Finally, we have a body and a team and really great people to champion this message from the right place.
Well, you're so in your dharma.
What's dharma mean?
Has anybody told you this?
I don't know what dharma means.
So in India, dharma is an expression of their culture and faith where someone is living their life in their divine purpose. Karma being a spiritual credit card, dharma being what they were here to be, what they were here to live for. There is like this huge story of you coming from, I believe your work started in Canada.
Yep.
And then that led you to then meeting Rachel. And then now you have a third baby. Congratulations on the birth of your son recently.
Thank you.
So incredible. But when you look back on it, it's always been this quotient of you wanting to be happy and healthy and present in your environment. What was it about the air that attracted you in? Go way back when you very first started. It seems like the air was always what was pulling you.
I wasn't aware of it though. It may have been pulling me. It might have been that river was always flowing, but I wasn't unaware I was in it. The only time I really started to become conscious of it was, and honestly, it's good that it happened when it did because, by age 13, I was selling products on eBay. And I was in high school, I was importing shirts from China and importing glass bongs to Canada and looking at importing. I was very entrepreneurial because I just wanted to have a good life. And it didn't make sense if there's people who need a thing and they don't have the thing and they don't know where to get it, and I was resourceful enough to go get it.
Yeah.
If you bring water to the desert and the people have their money there, they're very happy to trade you dollars for water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just how I saw business. And coming from a family of accountants who are brilliant business people that were trading money for time. It hit me till later, but something my dad would say all the time. He'd come home after work and we'd go to talk to him. He couldn't hear a thing we had to say. He's a very present dad. He'd take me to basketball games and sports, but present physically, but no listening presence. And I didn't realize the impact of that. And I was seeing it and feeling it. I'm like, and he would say, this was accounting in the late 90s. And he's like, I'm charging $300 a day all day at work to listen to people. By the time I'm home, I have no more listening bandwidth left. So I was never upset or mad about that. You know, he did what he thought was right at the time. But I'm like, damn, I definitely never want to do that.
Yeah.
And all my uncles and grandparents, they've all been doing the time for money stuff, whether they were lawyers or accountants and all that kind of stuff. So they were very unpresent in family mode, and they were just running by chargeable hours, letting one day at a time lead them. And I'm like, I absolutely do not want to do life that way. So I was always drawn to products and scale and things like that. And then I had friends just after around college years, you know, I stopped going to school after a year. We were hanging around and they were talking about, they just had got a job at this mold removal company. And they were just I didn't know anything about mold. I don't even think I've ever heard the word mold. I was like 21. And they're talking about mold and doing a job and how they quoted a job for 20 grand. And I'm like, wait, how many days did the job take you guys? It was like 2 or 3. I'm like, wait, how many employees were on this crew? 2. Like, how much equipment do you need? Not much. I'm like, wait a second here. You know, I've had from a line of business thinkers, I was just hearing, wow, this is a great business.
You're attracted by the dollar signs up front.
The opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, because, you know, I didn't want to trade time for money. I like working with people. Mold, I could see that it was a problem that people were worth it to invest in. But I'm like, these guys are charging way too much money. You could offer a fraction of the price and offer a fantastic service. So I was doing online marketing actually at the time, but when I was like, damn, the way people are having a mold problem and finding trusted mold guys and getting great work done it sucks. This was what the beginning of the mold rush, which is the mold is gold was the saying back then. And the mold rush is bigger now than it was then, a lot bigger. And I was interested in this. So I started finding really good mold experts. And then I would do the marketing and I would connect them with the customers. And then shitty reviews were coming back. I'm like, yo, these guys I'm working with actually aren't that good. They don't answer the phone. You know, I would call them in the middle of the day. We'll call you back. No answer. I'm like, this sucks. We should be answering 100% of the calls. We should do free quotes. Be in people's homes. No expectations of selling. So I was very interested in the way of good business. So, but the gateway drug was the mold. And then mold led to floods, and floods led to fires. And then when you're doing a mold job, you're testing the air before, during, and after. So realizing that what mold remediation really is, people picture that dark, scary black mold stuff. What is mold remediation? You're finding the physical mold. If you have physical mold, usually it's just airborne. But if there's physical mold, you're finding it, you're containing and isolating that space, putting an airtight a barrier around that space. You're surgically removing the mold. You're cleaning that space, and you're scrubbing the air for 4 days inside the contained space and outside. So what mold removal really is you're removing the mold while aggressively scrubbing the air. That is mold remediation in a nutshell. So I got to see the air before, during, and after. And I'd often go back to pick up my machines after a remediation job. Like, remember just being like, this is amazing. The air here is so good. Yeah, we had 4 scrubbers running at high power. So the air awareness really started to kick in because of the mold remediation. You're testing the air for mold before, during, and after. That started to make me realize what else is in the air that I'm not seeing. How about the cedar? How about the pollen? How about the pollution? And then I remember putting an air filter, like a medium-sized air filter in my bedroom at the time on high speed and feeling great. And then I remember my grandmother at the time wasn't sleeping good. I gave her one. She was sleeping better. So I was starting to see these little wins, and I was like, damn, these air filters are making a big difference.
There's guideposts from God all in your story. Your grandma, yourself, and I've heard you talk a lot about children. We just put a Jaspr in my son's room.
Hell yeah.
Which I love. And I'll put myself on blast here, y'all. I was the one that was shouting for the diaper genie. I was like, it's convenient. It's going to fit perfect. We don't have to walk down and throw the diapers in the garbage. And then I met Mike. And you educated me that my baby was breathing in shit.
And so are you.
And so was I. Now, babies, I don't know if it's different. The research that I looked up, it was around 60 to 70,000 breaths a day.
And infants could be closer to 100,000.
Infants take in even more breaths.
Yeah.
So that means
the respiratory rate
60 to 100K breaths per day. Potentially, if they're sleeping for 8 hours, at least 20,000 of those breaths were fecal matter breaths.
It's your whole home, though.
And I just didn't know it.
The shit doesn't stay in the room. The same way if you burn incense in your bedroom, you'll smell it in the whole home. Or if you cook in your kitchen, you'll smell it in your whole home. The fecal matter was not limited to the bedroom. So it's not, and you know, Diaper Genie, it's not about you guys. You guys actually were the most successful. Well, they were the best marketers.
Carrie was an immediate no the whole time.
It's really diaper pails though, like as a whole. They just were the, you know, we're Kleenexing diaper pails. So that's a brand, not a category. So yeah, speak to that. Carrie was she knew.
Carrie knew, her body knew. Just like when you said, I can step into a house now, my body can tell me if they have mold. You've built that intuition over time. I think that women just have a stronger intuition than men. Women are just out of the box, more somatically connected than men.
I think it's more than think. They definitely do.
They are. And so she was a no to it. I kept forcing it. And then finally we got rid of it. Thank God. But then I met you and you broke down the data. Can you break down the data and the real science behind the air in kids' rooms that are breathing in fecal matter?
So yeah, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a shitty problem.
Yes, it is, man. So think about this.
This is shitty.
It's so shitty. This is like, if there's anything anyone takes away here today, if you have a baby, if you are a baby, if you know a baby or somebody with a baby, this is important. Send this to them. If your ability to smell is an incredible tool, it's a sensor. It's your biological sensor. The same way that if we take 5 people outside right now or inside and we say, let's say we go outside and we all have to write down what temperature it is outside, typically everybody's within a degree or two. Sometimes if you play it, man, they're like the same number. You're like, oh, well, this is clearly we all have thermometers in our skin that allows us to sense temperature. That's because you've calibrated. How? Because you look at the thermostat and you look at the weather every day. So you're in touch with your thermal sensor. If you start looking at relative humidity on your AirNet there every day, inside and outside, within 2 months, man, you'll be able to tell me the relative humidity just as much as you can tell me the temperature. You'll know it's 22% relative humidity or 66 or 45. You'll know you're just as good at that. You know, in a desert, what dry feels like. You feel it in your throat, in your hair, in your skin, in your eyes. You feel it. You go into a rainforest, you feel the humidity.
Sure.
You can feel humidity. So you can tap into that more. And, you know, we're so impressed by the shark or the bear who can smell blood miles away. We have these superpowers too. So in a home, we could blindfold you, put a dirty diaper somewhere in the home, and you would find it because you can smell through air currents too. There's a lot going on there. You have these incredible gifts that people just forget about. So when you smell something, you smell bacon. You can identify a food by smell because you're smelling it. It's air is intelligent, and air is the medium in which the food is aerosolizing. Your nose is taking it in, and your brain is reconciling that information, saying this is bacon. Well, the same things was happening with the shit. So if it smells like shit, it's because it is shit. What is shit? Shit is filled with a lot of bacteria and enterobacter and things that you do not want in your lungs. Shit can cause a problem outside. Never mind indoors in your airtight confined box. And because you're smelling it, every porous material in your home is also absorbing it. So that means if we test your carpets, your blankets, your sheets, your bedding, there's a good chance we'll find bacteria there too, because that shit is in the air. So Jaspr is not the answer for this. I wish I could tell you it is. The answer is not having shitty diapers in your house. So good, better, best. The best thing you could do, and simple, is like, if it smells like shit, it is shit. And if it's shit, it's bad. You know, caveman speak. So you ideally are going to take those diapers and throw them outside as you're using them. I will say though, with Alice, we actually found a pretty reasonable solution. I'll give you the link, man. There's an Amazon product Rachel found. I'll send it to you after. So it's like $70 or $80. It's very cheap. The Diaper Genie, the problem is it has a 1 week shit storage capacity. That's a lot of shit. This little guy only has 1 day, and it works like a trash chute. So with the Diaper Genie, when you open the top, the shit is all there. With this one, it works more like a trash chute. So you put in the diaper, and as you close it, it's like like those mailbox things, like it flips to the bottom.
Yeah.
So it actually is containing it, and then it's so small that you have to dump it once per day because we love thermal comfort, we love convenience, and I don't like everything to be black and white. So if best is diapers directly outside, pretty good is small diaper pail that works like a trash chute and keep it in the bathroom or outside of baby's room. That's the 80-20 here, because the last thing you want, your baby goes from a womb to a hospital air or home birth or whatever, to all of a sudden being like in a room 18 hours a day, breathing shit 24 hours a day. This is not the way we want to develop our lungs.
Yeah.
Talk about being in a scared, anxious state. And then the carbon dioxide's high. We filled the baby's nursery with cribs, with paints, with new carpets, off-gassing like crazy, toys that have mold in them. And everybody wants a pretty nursery for Instagram. And they're not even, baby doesn't care what the nursery looks like. Who are you really doing this for? Who are you making it all pretty for? Who are you painting for? Is it for your baby or is it for you? If it's for you, okay, fine. Do it 6 months before your baby's born. Be conscious. Use low VOC paints. If you can get a secondhand crib or dresser, do it, because now it's already off-gassed in somebody else's home.
That's what we did.
Good.
We did that.
And then leave those windows open in that room so that room can off-gas before baby's here. And then put a Jaspr in that room too.
You know what I love most about you, man? The intentionality that you speak about, not just with the way you've created Jaspr, but homes, people, women, children. Like, I don't know if this would ever come online for you as strong if you weren't a father yourself. The fact that you're a dad makes your emotional awareness and your somatic awareness when you go into spaces and how you've driven the company and why Jaspr has done so great. It's not just because you've been on big podcasts. It's because when you go, there's really no bullshit to you. Like, you don't have any notes. This is all within you, right? You've embodied this knowledge through your life's journey. What was it about becoming a father that you can tell, that you can sense, help Jaspr explode? It's really been a year of just massive growth.
Well, I don't know. I don't think too much about the Jaspr part, but I can speak to myself.
Well, it's the intentionality that was built through you having children that I'm curious. It may not exist. I'm curious
there's something there for sure.
If it goes to Jaspr.
There's something there. And we were just doing, so the core values for the business, I had an 8-foot by 4-foot painted of the vision of Jaspr before we sold a single unit, while we were still prototyping. I worked with a facilitator. She asked me all these questions about the future state. I voice noted them, I wrote them, and then we kind of painted this piece together. I forgot about it for a few years. And whoa, there's a river flowing through it, and there's a mountain, there's a family at the end. I forgot about it. There was a spark and a small fire, which is funny because kindling is like my spirit animal, my metaphor. I kindle things. There's a lot of big logs that never catch. There's a lot of sparks and there's a lot of big logs, but we need a little kindling to get that spark to the small fire. Then I can burn to ash, and those big logs can burn bright way beyond when I'm there. But kindling is the thing that I do. And it's funny that like kindling is really what owns Jaspr. And that, looking back at that painting and that drawing, well, I did that facilitation work the same month Aria was born, my first daughter, 2020, February 23rd. And what happened was, for some people, they talk about the biggest moment of their life was when their child was born. Boom. I didn't have any of that. The first 2 births were epidural, by the way, and Atlas was a natural birth. And there was some boom for the natural birth. That was a whole different ballgame. But what changed back then is I stopped thinking in days and weeks and months, and I started thinking in decades. So ever since Ari was born in 2020, I play the decades game. My time scales are just much, much longer. Mm-hmm. And it's not really thinking about future generations and the kid. Maybe that's there in the subconscious, but just thinking about myself more as a moment of time and decades. Like, it took us a year to lock in this podcast. That was fine for both of us the whole time,
Yeah.
It was always super important, but never urgent. So I like the concept of river guide. I used to be trying to climb mountains, and it's funny that Jasper's called a mountain. That was my metaphor of life, climbing the mountain and knowing that you're climbing the right mountain. I just want to be flowing in the river now and be a river guide. And having kids, it really moved me to more river guide, less mountain climber, and more decades. The mountain implies that there's a summit and there's a peak, and you are here, and there's other mountains. The river, you're always there. This is an infinity loop river that maybe goes to the oceans on either end. And yeah, since having kids, just like anytime I would do something that was like not 100% in alignment. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. When Aria was about 3 weeks old, man, she was lying on my belly, skin to skin, and she fully possessed me. It was like the most powerful ayahuasca experience you could ever imagine. She fully took me. I was like possessed. She had full control. She like electrified my whole body and I could not move. It was just an overwhelming sense of energy. Whoa. And anytime that I find myself doing anything that's self-centered for me, for the company, for anything like that, that brings me back to that feeling. It will create tension in my body, shiftiness, twitchiness. And, if I look Aria in her eyes at the end of the day and say, you know what, if Aria sees everything I do, even when I'm not there, what would a mensch father do? What would be a dad being worthy of being proud of? How would he act? And I just work within alignment of that.
I love the way that honesty is it's actually a virtue. It's not a value. Value is like where you have something written down, right? A virtue is the behavior. So your virtue of honesty, your body tells you when you're being dishonest or when you're being egoic, the same way that your somatic intelligence tells you when you go into a room that there could be mold and you've trained yourself over time. That's what I was looking for actually when I was trying to connect. What is the growth of Jaspr? It's because I think when we become a parent, I know when I have become a parent, I'm thinking about long-term wealth. I'm thinking about, like you said, decades down the road. How many people that are single that don't have children would even be interested in buying a Jaspr versus how many parents that are thinking in decade-long vision invest in the Jaspr?
It's a parent thing.
It's a parent thing.
It's a family thing.
We start caring about the longer game.
Yeah.
Why is this?
And you care about more than yourself.
That's it.
And, there are outliers. I know some people who have very intentionally chosen not to have kids. And I've realized like their role too, even now with the school coming to shape, like one of my closest friends, UJ, his wife is writing children's book. They know they're never going to have kids, but wow, kids love her. Her attachment, all her motherly instincts are 12 out of 10, fully in touch with all of that. The cycles, all of it. But by her not having kids is actually a really important role in the village because she's not bringing her own energy of her own kids and her own parents into everything. It can just be like neutral love for all the children. So there are some special people out there that are playing a different game that I've seen it. And to them, in this lifetime, kids is not in their story, but it doesn't mean they can't be with kids and enjoy kids and be a really big part of it all. So I'm realizing that you need those people too to kind of be the trees and be the rocks and be the pillars sort of around it because they're less attached.
I feel like wisdom reaches people exactly where they are. So when the wisdom that you're bringing today is literally people are breathing, they probably breathe thousands of times during this conversation.
17,000 times a day.
Okay, so in this hour, there's been a lot of breaths. And the wisdom the wisdom that I want y'all to feel from this is that life is finite. We're only here for a limited amount of time, whether you're a parent or not. The air that we breathe, make it practical, Mike. Like people go out on the weekend, they'll spend $200 on drinking and food that's going to make them sick. People they've been trained, unfortunately. There's a sedation of society that's been trained. And that training has come from media and from a lot of things that are very nefarious in their intent. Like you said, people love a monster. I'm not going to sit here and call them a monster, but I'm going to say they're out there. And the reason they're out there is because it's a really great weapon of monetization. What we don't realize as human beings here on planet Earth is that every single insecurity and every single thing that we don't know, unconsciously incompetent, is monetized. And so it might be that you invest in a Jaspr and you actually start breathing well, which then allows you to eat better food, which then allows you to feel better, which then allows you to get a person in your life that you've been longing for. It's all a multiplication issue. It's a math issue. We spend money on shit that we don't actually need to impress people on social media that we don't actually know. And if we actually invested money,
just make them feel shitty too.
It just make them feel shitty. But if we actually would invest money with our food and our air and our water, food, air, and water, then all of our relationships would grow. Our physical body would feel great. These are the pillars is what I'm saying. Can you speak to people practically that might have a reservation of like investing in a Jaspr? Food, air, and water.
And I'll also tell people that they can make a really good air purifier for $150 DIY.
Okay, sweet.
So literally, if you Google DIY air purifier, Corsi Rosenthal box is like one of the more popular ones. You can use a C or a K. I can never remember. Google will get you where you need to go. You can make it for $150 in a couple hours at Home Depot. And it'll be almost as effective as Jaspr. The thing is, what I don't want people to do is go to Home Depot, Walmart, Amazon, Best Buy, and buy some $200 cheap plastic box full of nothing but empty promises that doesn't do shit.
That has VOCs in it.
Yeah.
That's spraying VOCs in your house.
It's not good. It's not doing any, and it's made from plastic. It has a 1-year warranty. It's a cheap piece of crap. You're not checking a box. This is your air. You know, there's a difference between a Brita filter that you get for $30 at Walmart and investing in a good water filtration system.
Yeah.
These are not equal. So when you come back to the practical sense, first of all, knowing that there's a DIY option out there is very comforting because it's like, yo, if you want some, the downsides of that one are going to be, it won't detect the air in real time. It won't look beautiful. It'll be loud, and you have to spend a few hours putting it together. So it's kind of annoying. It's kind of industrious. But hey, if you live in a wildfire zone and you got no money and you got bad air, that thing's going to clean your air for you. So I think it's really important. You know, not everybody needs to drive the nicest car. Whose Jaspr is made for is people who want to invest in the best air scrubber that looks beautiful, that's made from steel, that will last for 25 years, that has a lifetime warranty. That's not for everybody. But I just built Jaspr for myself. I just built the scrubber I wanted in my home, for my family, for my kids, no focus groups. This is what me, as a former mold man, fire flood guy, who also has a wife and a family that appreciates good interior design. We care a lot about aesthetics. If you go into a room with bright lights, black walls, and pink trim, you ain't gonna feel calm no matter how good the air and water is, because what our eyes see is deeply important for how we feel. So Jaspr being aesthetically pleasing, you know, steel, it's a white cold rolled steel. Steel absorbs light, plastic reflects light. So some other brands that got a big plastic thing with their big logo on it, they're making it all about them. And that's acting as a mirror in your living room. It's a huge eyesore. We designed Jaspr to be hiding in plain sight. Some people won't even notice it's there. And if they do, it's, what is that thing? It invokes curiosity, but it enhances the decor. Just like you could buy a cheap kettle for $29 off Walmart. It will heat your water just fine, but you might want glass. You might want the black metal one. So instead of stashing it away and hiding it, you leave it out. It enhances the decor. It makes your room look better. You like nice things. And I personally, what I've done as an entrepreneur, how I've tricked myself or aligned myself to invest in health first over everything is, instead of viewing health investments like an expense or spending, viewing it like an investment truly. So I created a balance sheet for myself. So much like Jaspr, if we buy inventory, the cash goes down, the inventory goes up. When you spend, that implying that the value is gone. You spent it, it's gone now. It's not the case. If you view yourself like renovating a home or maintaining a building or a machine, well, then all of a sudden, when you invest in clean air, clean water, personal training, good nutrition, better lighting, your stock is growing. Just like a company investing in itself, you as an individual, if you invest in yourself, you get more outsized gains by investing in yourself than anything else you could possibly invest in. So taking that little shift, you know, going to my roots of being from scarce financial minds, I have to find ways to really unleash myself to go deeper and go harder and not be scared to, and it's the river, right? Like it flows through Jaspr, through me, through great body workers and mind workers, then to their kids, to their family, it feeds them. It's a very positive loop, which is why gifting Jaspers is so important to us. Whether it's a school or a wellness business or a hotel or a sports team, we use Jaspers to raise the awareness because we want to wake people up. And to me, the word waking up or awaken, it can often get this weird spiritual toxic superiority. Ego loves it. When you talk about waking up. All that waking up and awakening to me, first of all, it's dials, it's not switches. It's a process. And it just means waking up to the potential that your life could be better and you have control over it.
I love that you said it's dials, not switches.
Everything's
Let
dials,
that be
not
a
switches.
soundbite for everything that we do.
Yeah.
When you choose to invest in yourself, it may feel like a switch, but it's an amalgamation of a dial that made you care enough to finally flick a switch. I love this.
Yeah,
that
man.
is so good.
So air is not bad air, good air. Bad water, good air. Good water. Go out, don't go out. Good dad, bad dad. It doesn't work this way. Everything is complex. We want to take it back to the 4 and 5 year old. It's good boy, bad boy. This is not how shit works. It is way more dials. And yes, you are flowing in the river and you need to surrender to the higher power and the experience. But at the same time, you can control which way you're facing. You can be on your back. You can be on your front. You can swim to shore. You might be swimming upstream and all you had to do is turn around to turn those headwinds into tailwinds. It might just be a 180.
The emotional intelligence it takes to be able to run a company like you do, to be a father, but also to care so much, not about just the margin. I mean, I know like margins are important. You wouldn't be able to breathe oxygen into Jaspr if you didn't have a margin. The fact that you're willing to give such a deep discount to our tribe, to our audience is so special. Can you tell us about this? This is the ultimate hookup. Like, y'all, this is like a Black Friday special, but it's only for a couple weeks when this pod comes out.
So I just want to tell you a couple really practical things for people to know since last time we spoke. Number one, so we did a sleep study with 150 people. So we gave 150 people Jaspers who have been tracking their sleep for years. The average person with Jaspr versus no Jaspr slept 25 minutes more per night and 18% more deep sleep. That's number one. The second one is our mold study. We don't do bullshit studies where we put a filter in a lab in a controlled environment. No. The lab that we use fills the room with mold spores, tests, and then runs Jaspr and tests again. It's on our website. We actually link to all the lab data. We removed 97% of the mold in 1 hour and 100% in 3 hours by scrubbing it. Now, the constant review we keep getting is people's seasonal allergies are gone. But here's my favorite one. Dude, literally my sister Sarah and her husband John have been snoring for 5-6 years. And we put a Jaspr in the room on fan speed 2. Smart mode wasn't enough. You had to have it on a higher setting. And he hasn't snored since. And this is profound because they were in their mid to late 30s and they were already sleep divorced. You know, Sarah would try to get to bed an hour before, be asleep. He starts snoring. She's awake. Other room. This is a big deal. This is going to be profound over time. So by him not clean air means by not breathing in mold and dust and pollution allowed his body and his lungs to rest deeper, that snoring was not needed. He was running on cleaner fuel. They went to San Antonio for a weekend, forgot Jaspr snored. He's been using a snore app. We're going to do a snore study soon called Snore Lab. On average so far, it's early, but he snores 9 minutes a night with Jaspr nights and 2.5 hours without. So to me, the reason I'm excited is so many health things I try, I just don't know. Mm-hmm. I go in, I get my blood test, they give me a bag of supplements. I'm like, literally the word is supplements. It's supposed to be supplementary. Shouldn't air, water, food be dialed in? And then we use supplements to bridge the gaps. Don't make the supplementary the primary. The most primary thing you do is take in air and oxygen to survive. So it's really important to me. The reason that I am here, it's not about selling Jaspers. It's about an air awareness that I've had and sharing the way our homes are built. You know, Jasper's a Band-Aid. Ideally, if we can build homes better in 100 years or so, we won't need these things at all anymore. But some Band-Aids are useful too.
Yeah.
So it's a good Band-Aid. So yeah, what we're doing is Jaspr is typically $1,199, $1,199. And we've got it down from $2,000 over the past few years when we used to only sell to medical. So the more efficient we get as a company, the more we've been able to lower our price. You won't find us on Best Buy or Walmart or Amazon or any of those places because we don't sell there. Because if we did, first of all the margin would go to them and we couldn't give people great discounts. Also, when something doesn't work that you got it from Best Buy or Amazon, all you do is you smash the return button. You don't want to return it. You want the thing you were promised. They're not equipped to give the quality of service we have. We don't have a sales or a customer support department. We only have building biologists. So if you call us, email us, text us, customer or not, about your issue, we are here to serve. We are an education company who happened to also make the world's best air scrubber. That is secondary to the air awareness. So the way it's going to work today, the day that the episode comes out, Jaspers, instead of $11.99, they will be $7.99. That is a $400 discount. Jaspr is spelled JASPR.co, and the code is wellness. So that's $400 off. The code is wellness, JASPR.co. For anyone who this doesn't resonate with or today is not the time, after 2 weeks from today, so 2 weeks sharp from today, the day the podcast comes out, the code will still be live, but it will only be $200 off. This is the same deal we have at Black Friday. However, last year at Black Friday, we were sold out and back ordered for 3 months plus. And that will definitely happen again. So instead, hey, when we're educating people, let's just sprinkle in the Black Friday season in these little moments in time to just specifically your audience right now. And if Jaspr is not changing your life, we call it the life-changing guarantee. We will take it back. We will give you all your money back. We also have a lifetime warranty. I'm more proud of our lifetime warranty than the Jaspr itself. So if your Jaspr breaks, everything breaks eventually. Nothing is here forever. The way it works, we will ship you a brand new Jaspr. You will take the new Jaspr out of the box. You will put your old Jaspr in the box. We will also send you a prepaid shipping label, and we will pay for UPS to come to your front porch and pick it up. Why? Treat people like you want to be treated. And if you're in a business position or a management position, treat your customers how you would want to be treated if you were the customer. You know what makes me feel shitty? When I have a product, spent good money on it, invested in something that I thought would be great for me, for my family, whatever, has a warranty. Then it breaks. They want videos. They want photos. They make me feel like a liar. Original receipt.
They make you pay for the shipping to ship it back.
I got to get a weird shaped box. I got to go to FedEx. Yeah. I got to pay for the shipping. It could be a couple $100s.
Yeah, take time out of your life. That's the biggest one.
That's
I have to take time out of my life for your error.
That's not cool. So what we do is we take all the experience, all the headaches that I experienced as a customer, and we take them all away. And to me, if Jaspr fixes your sleep, deeply enhances your sleep, your life, your energy, your mood, your allergies, your skin, the investment will feel very cheap. And then filter-wise, it's a little over $1 a day, and it's clean air for life. So good is one Jaspr in your bedroom. So starting there is key. For those who can afford it, just like your home, who want whole home clean air, Jaspr in one bedroom where everyone sleeps, anyone where there's a primary sleeper, a Jaspr is great. You want to put that Jaspr on fan speed 2 or 3 with the lights off. Remember, there's no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, no EMF. It can go anywhere in the bedroom. Your bedrooms are going to have 99% cleaner air, and that clean air will also help circulate throughout your whole home. And then one Jaspr in your living room area is a bonus if you cook a lot on smart mode. So it'll be silent all the time, but now it will respond automatically to cooking, to cleaning products, to wildfire smoke, to your neighbor barbecuing. Anything that comes inside, it will automatically address that.
That's so funny. I bet that would actually happen if the window is open.
It does happen.
And there was stuff coming in.
Even if your window's closed, your home is breathing the air from outside.
It's on the screen right now. This is amazing. The fact that air isn't in the same conversation as food and water.
Come on.
Like, look at how many, there's probably the most podcasts ever done on nutrition. Wouldn't you say that's true? It's probably the most, like, look at Saladino and Rogan and all these people. That's all they talk about is food, keto and carnivore.
Exercise.
Air is literally just as important. They're right there, food, air, and water. So if y'all get one thing from this conversation.
I mean, I would put air way above food.
At least, okay, you
can
put
go
it 3
weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 minutes without air.
When you put it, Mike,
if you just look
when you put it that way, then yes, air is more important. Yeah. I know that you're very partial to air. What I'm saying is, like, can we just bring air to the table of conversation, which is what we've done today, which you've done a really good job of.
If you can catch a breath, you'll go find the stream and you'll go find the food. I believe in your ability to go do it. If you don't have air, you don't have the opportunity to get the water or the food. So the first thing you do when you're born, the last thing you do is take a breath. So when you're breathing, breathe is how you calm. It's how you regulate yourself. And from there, you'll get the water, you'll get the food, you'll solve the problems, you'll figure it out. But it starts with the breath.
What a great conversation. It's the reason we waited a year.
Yes, it is.
When things marinate, they taste good. Y'all, please share this podcast with somebody that is honestly in a space of not knowing that they don't even know. If somebody is unconsciously incompetent, much like I was, about the quality in my house, which, by the way, we're also going to link in the show notes some cool videos that Mike and I did from cooking. Amazing. If you just watch those videos, share this podcast, I guarantee you can find the energy, which is really money, to give yourself health, invest in your health. You don't have to have Mike's spreadsheet. You can if you want to. Maybe we can link that for people to watch. But when you make the investment in your food, your air, and your water, because they're all the same, and Mike thinks that air is higher, which actually you might have changed my mind live on the podcast, then we can actually love each other and we can have peace and power, because you cannot do anything in this world unless it comes from a place of peace. I could sit here and try to control a conversation or control my family or come from like a place of power in my life.
Good luck.
But if people around me don't feel the peace in my heart, then none of this really matters.
I feel the peace in your heart.
Thank you. It's taken a long time. Also 800 podcast
And
episodes.
it's not a switch. It keeps getting more.
No. I love
This baby's just getting
That's why
started.
I love podcasting. The dial analogy and the switches. Get the fuck out. Okay, y'all, share this podcast.
See y'all.
We'll do another one, and make sure that you go and get that hookup. It's on the screen right now. It's only for a couple weeks. If you've been dealing with issues and allergies, especially if you're a parent, straight up, this is something that you must get. I'm just going to say that right now. So until we see you again, I'm wishing you love, wellness, but most importantly, peace and power. We'll talk with you soon.